Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Grow and Clip Bonsai for Seniors. My name's Tom Novak, and we have to do an emergency repotting today. I have Ilex Crenata, or it's called Convexa. Today's Sunday evening, about 9 o'clock. 58 degrees Fahrenheit or 14 Celsius this evening. And this plant is hardy to zone probably 5 up to minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Now I had this overwintered outside, and it was buried deep in the snow among a nice sheltered location. But when I picked up the pot and tugged at it to see if it was alive, it just came out like this. So we're going to have to do some major pruning and major repotting. I'm going to use, for a soil mix, I'm going to use 2 parts peat moss, 1 part worm castings, 2 parts sand, and 1 tablespoon of Mykos beneficial bacteria. Now, this plant likes to be planted either in the spring or the fall, and that's the best time for planting, so it lets the roots grow. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to have a pot like this. I drilled it, and I got the screen in there, if you can see it. And this is the plant I picked up. It was $10, and they had it in the junk section for like $2 or $3, so I grabbed it. So the first thing I'm going to do is wash the roots off to see what we got. And we'll take our little chopstick, and this thing has some real gnarled roots in it. So we're going to have to give it some drastic pruning of the root system. And the top, so we can have this tree grow, this little bush. So I'm getting most of the soil off. Got it rubbed off. You can see this big curled thick taproot that's going like a snake. So what I'm going to do is cut it. Then I have this big contorted root over here. I mean, it's really gnarled in there. Let's see if I can cut it off. It's really in there pretty good. There's another snarled root over here. We want to get a flat radial root base on it if we can. This one's going to girdle itself, so I'm going to just cut it here. Right, you can see the girdling effect there, so I'm going to cut that off. This one's growing straight in the air, this root, so we're going to cut that off. This one, another root right here, it's growing straight up, so we're going to cut that off. And we're not left with a lot of roots, if you can see that. They're mainly girdling roots. I don't know how they put this when they grew it. So here's another one that's starting to girdle itself, so I cut that. So now we got a nice flat little root base. The best we can get at this state of the game, because there's a nice fat one here, but I want this tree to get some vigor, so I'm not going to cut any more roots off. So the first thing I'm going to do is put it in a container so we can get it stabilized, so we can prune it, and you can see the soil, how nice it is. Nice and fluffy. And since it likes more of acidic soil, this is going to be good, because you got more peat in there, and peat's more on the acidic side. I'm not worried about a front on this right now. because right now I want this tree to grow. And the sand is heavy enough to keep it in the pot. I'm not really too worried about location. I got it buried a little bit deeper than normal, but that's alright because I want these roots not to dry out, whatever roots are left in it. And the soil was pretty heavy. Didn't have a lot of good drainage in it. So I'm going to pack it in good. And you got to really pack it in good because I don't want it to fall apart on me. Okay. Get our chopstick, get it in there pretty good. Right now you can see it's pretty stable. Holding in there pretty good. And I'm just going to give it a little drink so I can get it stabilized in there pretty good. Now you think I'm in a rush, but I just don't know how long the video is going to last, so let's hope she lasts until we're done with it. Right now I got a little bit wet, so the sand is nice and heavy to keep it in. You can see there's a little bit of root coming out of the top, but I'm not worried about that. What I'm going to do is take some more of my mixture and cover it, because remember, we want these roots to grow. Now if you see something on sale, grab it. Got a nice trunk to it. Now what I'm going to do is dip and clip. We're going to get rid of most of the scraggly branches, like there's one over here. I don't know if you can see it on the side. And we want to get rid of all the branches that are growing into the tree. That might make a good cutting. We'll check it out. I got some growing up tall here. Get that out of there. Some crossing branches. So I'm just going to clip. Now remember, I don't edit my videos. These are all live, so any mistakes I make on the air, what you see is what I do. So I don't have the luxury of editing. So we're going to clip some more branches off that are growing in. Some more here so we can get the trunk nice. Branches like over here are no good. I don't know if you can see it, but we're just pruning away anything that's going to do harm to our little tree here, because we don't want to have an inverse taper where it gets, where the trunk is straight up and then you get, like my fist, a fat bulge in it. So right now we're just clipping away. I wish I had closer vision, but we don't. Now we got to cut the bird's feather off. But I think we can cut this piece of the branch off here. Don't be afraid of clipping. This tree will grow. And it still looks alive, so I think we can take this branch out of the crotch because it's too much in one section. Now, does it have any life in it? We're doing this and we don't know if it's got life, but it's got some green in there. So let's see what we get out of it. Just snip away all these little branches here. So we'll see if it grows. It had a hard life in the snow. I hope the snow didn't kill it, and all I did was snug at the pot and this thing came right out. So you know it wasn't planted very good in there. It must have fallen a lot inside the store and got kicked around. So the thing struggled for life, so we're going to give it life. Just going to cut it back for now. There's so many little branches in here that'll force an inverse taper. A lot of them are dead looking, a lot of them are bending, so maybe yes, maybe no. This one we're going to cut out. And this one don't look too good, like it's alive or not. Let's check it out. Well, that looks a little dead. So what we're going to really do is going to take this big branch off. If we can get it to cut, and it doesn't look alive. Maybe, maybe not. Well, we'll see. Because I want this to grow up this way. So I'm going to cut that off. Because it's starting to get an inverse taper. Later on, if and when it does grow, we can do some more pruning, but right now I don't want it to support a lot of branches with no root system. So let's see. These are growing all over the place. We don't want no inverse taper. There's like 4 in one little crotch area, and these branches are really tough and dead looking. So I don't think I'll be able to get cuttings out of this, but that one didn't even come out with a fight. So we're going to do a little cut here, cut this one back to node. And hopefully, the roots will take over and she'll grow. Let's give it a good watering again. So for now, stepping on my cord, wipe off the pot. So since it's a square pot, you don't have to worry about a front until it starts growing. But we did a major pruning on it, and the bark looks green, but a lot of the branches are dead. So we won't know until we see what's growing on it. We won't know till the spring. I'll put it outside, put it in a protective area. A lot of these ones, the wood is just woody. So, we'll see what we shall see. I know it looks terrible for cutting them like this, but we got to do something. There was a major bud over here, so if it's alive or not, I don't know, but the wood is dark. So will it live? We'll find out. I'll let you know. Keep an eye on it. You got a little root coming out of here. Coming straight up. And I'm going to give it a little more soil so we can keep the roots well buried. We're going to put it like in a shady spot and keep our fingers crossed to see if it survived the winter and if it has any vigor left in it. The roots didn't smell, so let's give it a go and let's try it out and see what happens. You have to get used to these microphone cords because it gets you tangled up like you wouldn't believe. And don't forget your lipstick. So as to give it some help, I'll give it a little bit of dab of lipstick on some of these heavy cuts because I don't want them, the rain or whatever falls on it, to dry it out. Or rot it, pardon the language. So, pot's cheap. It's from the dollar store for only $1. That's the finished action of the tree with a little bit of root and a little bit of stock. Let's keep our fingers crossed and I'll keep you updated and see if our little holly grows. So, today's still Sunday night. It's still family night. Get a cup of tea, sit down, relax, enjoy your family. And like me, I like to watch a little Lawrence Welk for an hour. I don't know if it's your forte, but what the heck. Try it out. And don't be afraid to pick up something in the junk section. It may reward you later. So take care, have a nice night, and thank you for coming to Grow and Clip Bonsai for Seniors.